On this episode of Exactly How, we're going to show you how to never use not having time as an excuse, how to break the bad habits that don't serve you, and how to double your business on this episode of Exactly How.
You're listening to the Exactly How podcast, where you'll hear the underground, closely guarded wealth-building secrets of successful people around the globe. Discover exactly how to improve your mental, physical, and financial health. Feel better, make more money, live, give, and prosper in today's exciting, fast-paced world filled with opportunity for those who know exactly how.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Connected Investors podcast and YouTube show, Exactly How. During this episode, you're going to discover exactly how to use proven productivity life hacks. And we're going to be talking about flipping time. I know we usually talk about flipping houses, but this could actually be more important. So get excited. For those of you who are new, my name is Ross Hamilton, today's host and CEO of ConnectedInvestors.com, the real estate investors marketplace and community. And today we have the privilege to learn from a woman who has been recognized by Wall Street Journal as having one of the top realtor teams and created her 5-Minute Success podcast, voted #1 recommended in the business category. So she definitely has something to say. Prior to her career in real estate, she worked at a restaurant. But all of that changed when she realized that the only thing stopping herself was herself. And she found that by flipping time, she was able to move forward at a very quick pace. I would describe our guest as very persistent, pleasantly persistent, I think you'll find. I'd like to introduce you to the one, the only, Karen Briscoe. Karen, how are you?
Hey, Ross. Love talking about flipping houses and flipping time.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something I'm really excited about because as a as a new father with so many competing priorities in my life, anything I can do that helps me be more effective in less time, I am all ears, and I know a lot of our members are as well.
Well, and I'm here to share my story and hope that it helps other people as well.
Yeah. Well, I know it will for a fact. So I'm excited about even the commentary we had before the show here. But before we dive into exactly how to flip time, Karen, you contribute a lot of your success to your constant activity blocking. Why do you think this has played such a big role in your success?
Well, many people use time blocking, and that is, if that's working for you, go for it. I just find that many people, they struggle with it. They say they're going to do it and then they don't. And really what I found, because now I've become kind of a time hack person, is that time is something that passes whether you do anything or not, right? I discovered this when our daughter in elementary school had learning disabilities, and we would take her to a tutor and she'd figure out how to use the hour that we were paying a very expensive tutor and get nothing done. And so I was like, okay, definition of insanity, right? We're going to do something different here. So we started working with a tutor who had what you called homework club, and that meant you stayed till you did your homework. So there was an end result that came out of the time. And all of the strategies and the compensation techniques she had to use up the time didn't work to her benefit anymore. So she quit doing that. And that's where activity blocking came about. And I find that with people that are in sales, people that need to get a certain amount of work done, and they oftentimes do that. They waste a lot of time doing things that are busy work or not meaningful. And so what I have done to success for almost 2 decades in the residential sales space is the idea of the activity. So I determine how many activities. In my case, it's lead generation, business development, prospecting. I determined a count. I've been pretty effective at 5 per business day. And then I can do what I call front load, so I can work ahead, I can backfill, but I have something that I can track, and I know what earns a certain amount of business for me, and if I can adjust for market conditions.
Yeah, no, that's really insightful there, because when you go into your calendar and your time blocking, you're there to spend time, just subconsciously. And, I heard this analogy the other day. If you saw someone walking down the street, just throwing $100 bills out of their pocket, you'd think they were crazy, right? They might even get locked up, but we waste so much time. You see people just sitting there, just mindlessly scrolling on things, just not doing anything productive with their time. And that is worse than throwing $100 bills out of your pocket, because you can get money back, but you can never, ever get time back. And me, you, got Oprah, Elon Musk, we all have the same amount of time every day. That's the one thing that everyone gets the same amount of, but how you make use of that time is is really the make or break. So thank you so much for jumping on this line here. I'm excited about this. For everyone that's on the line, if this is your first time, make sure to visit exactlyhow.com, because at that site, you can pull all of the notes from this show. We're going to make a blueprint. Everything that we learned from our guests here, we're going to save you time and give you a step-by-step blueprint that you can go ahead and download and use. In addition, when you go to exactlyhow.com, you can throw your name in the hat to win our $3,000 software that automatically locates the best off-market properties, the pre-MLS properties. It's a $3,000 value. I know you guys have probably seen it already and you really want it. So make sure to visit exactlyhow.com, throw your name into the hat. And you can also check out the archive of properties that we have out there. And this is something I mentioned on a previous show that so many of our clients, listeners got excited about. If anyone here has an Alexa, you can literally, to save you time, Connected Investors just developed a new Alexa app. You can say, hey, Alexa, open Connected Investors and find me a flip in, and you can insert any city, Wilmington, North Carolina, and Alexa will start kind of feeding you those deals. So if you have an Alexa, go ahead and test it out. Hey, Alexa, open Connected Investors, find me a flip in Tampa, Florida. You'll be able to find it. So that's the type of tech that we like to develop.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. Well, great. Actually, just a few moments, we're going to announce the winner of this show's software. So hang on there. If you threw your name into the hat, you could be one of the winners. So let's go ahead and define for everyone here before we dive in what you mean by flipping time.
Well, there's so much productivity hacks and, time management strategies. And I find that for many people, they don't work. And so I realized that what was happening in my life was that I was putting time and energy into things that weren't necessarily giving me energy and weren't my zone of genius, as you talked about. And so in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when you have that pyramid, you may remember from your psych days, that the physical needs and then the safety needs and the esteem needs and then self-actualizations at the top. Well, what happens with living life that way is that oftentimes you put off self-actualization, and continuing to put it off, that is, well, some people run out of time. Okay. That's the first thing that can happen. But the second thing is people start living lives of quiet desperation, right? So I was like, well, flip the whole thing. Forget about trying to manage time, because it really is a created thing. It's really energy is not time, is a fundamental currency of performance. So energy, if you think about it, when I live authentically to myself in my zone of genius, in flow, a lot of people call it a lot of different things. When I'm doing those things I'm designed to do, I'm going to be my most productive. And I'm also actually going to be happy. And so then everything else becomes easier or unnecessary in many cases. That's, from the one thing with Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, the idea of if you put that one thing first, then everything else will become much clearer. What most people do is they do it the other way around. So I'm like, flip it.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. No, that's really nice. I mean, those activities that when you're doing them, time doesn't actually exist, right? You're like, oh my gosh, did 3.5 hours just go by? I haven't even looked at my phone. You don't have to say, hey, stop looking at your phone, because you're just so in the zone. Being able to identify what that is really important. So this is really hitting home for me personally. So everyone, before we went live here, Karen and I talked about the 3 steps to flipping time. And step number 1 is to start small and build up. Step number 2 is to find your genius. And step number 3 is to put it into practice. So Karen, let's talk about step 1. Someone's like, yes, I want to get more out of my seconds. How do I do this? What is starting small and building up?
Well, that's where the 5-minute success came in, because many people in my real estate world, when you achieve a high level success, wouldn't know how I did it. And I would, share productivity, personal and business. And they're like, they didn't have enough time. And I'm like, well, do you have 5 minutes a day? And so breaking down that barrier that people have, starting small and building up. Now, the benefit of that is that you'll start to experiencing the benefits of it, and you'll want to do more. So first of all is the starting, and that's why the small chunks can have a real impact. It can do one of several things. It can do that domino, like the one thing that leads to the others, or it can create a ripple effect. So like you'll throw that 5-minute pebble into the pond and then it'll start having a ripple effect on your life and your business. And the third also potential, well, there's lots of others, but the other one that's common is this kind of snowball effect. It'll start to build on itself.
Yeah. And then that's when you can start seeing it and seeing some of the financial results of being disciplined here.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm a business person, and the amazing thing is the more I have flip time, well, first of all, everybody around me is happier. So there you go. That's a win right there. But second of all, I have doubled my business in the last 3.5 years. So I think that sometimes people say that they don't have time to do things. This is actually a Lazu quote. Time is a created thing. To say I don't have time is like saying I don't want to. I think behind that is a lot of different other things, like I don't want to take away from my family, or I don't want to take away from my business, or I don't want to appear selfish, or these kind of what I hear from many people. I'm like, it's actually, for me, had the opposite impact, because the more I have flipped time and put that first for me, because I'm living in, my authentic self, and I'm actually capable of doing so much more when I'm doing that type of meaningful work.
Yeah. That actually reminded me of a fun quote. You want to get something done? Ask the busiest person you know.
Isn't that the truth? And the reason why is because they really do know how to make the most impact.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love what you said though. When you say, I don't have the time, what you're really saying is, I don't want to.
And so then figure out, well, why don't you want to? Because you're wasting a lot of energy thinking about things you don't want to do, right? So that part of, this is recognizing what you don't want to do. What is not your call to genius? I mean, what is outside of that zone?
Yeah. No, that's really valuable insight there. And I love how you're like, just start with 5 minutes a day. Everyone has 5 minutes a day. Everyone has an hour a day somewhere, I guarantee, but you'll build up to that. And that's step number one. So thanks for sharing. Now, step number two, after you start small and start to build up, is to find your genius. Now, to me, I'm going to just kind of jump in here a little bit, because this is like your life mission, right? A lot of times I'll study like what happiness is, right? And to me, happiness is progression. But how can you progress if you haven't defined where you're trying to go, right? It's not just moving around in a circle. So finding your genius, I think, is where a lot of people just get stuck, and they look at people that have found their genius and they're like, what does that person have that I don't? And it's direction, and they can see that they're moving toward it and that they're happy they're moving toward it. So I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about how to find your genius. I think it's one of the most important things in anyone's life.
Well, I think it starts with curiosity. Although I will say most people have an idea of what it is they want to do, and they have put it off or denied it for whatever reason. So if that's back in the back of your mind, like, I've always wanted to learn how to hip hop dance, which actually I started taking hip hop classes, or I've always wanted to take improv, so the idea is to start, again, back to start. A lot of it's reiteration though, because part of the progression is you'll try things and then you'll go, oh, well, that wasn't it. But you'll also meet people along the way. So it's part of the journey. I found is that as you get outside your comfort zone, in one of the books, the Flip Time book, it's a heroine's journey, which is the story of heroes and heroines, people who go out on their called adventure. They're called to contribution, they're called to service, they're called to opportunity. There's a lot of research done on people who have, they feel like they've had luck or they've had opportunity presented to them. It's mostly because they put themselves in more situations and they're open to it. So if you're not sure, then just start doing things that you had never done before. My son's friends said, we're going to do a sprint triathlon. I'm like, well, I haven't ever done that before. So I did. Well, then I happened to place the fastest in my age group. So then I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. So I started doing more. So that's part of the amazing thing about living a life like this, is that there's so many things that you could do. And so it's more a matter of just pick one and start there.
Yeah, and what you said there, struck a chord with me, because what you're really saying is break the pattern. Right?
Yes.
You get in this hypnotic rhythm in your head, round and round you go. Every day when you put your pants on, you put your left foot in first or your right foot in first. You're on autopilot, and you're on autopilot through a lot more of your life than you realize. So by breaking the pattern, by saying yes to something, by doing a sprint triathlon, you've just kind of wobbled the pattern a little bit to where you can kind of break out of it and see new opportunities. That exact situation happened to me. I was stuck in a rhythm, and then I signed up for Ironman triathlon. Was crazy. I hadn't even done a marathon before, but I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. How you do anything is how you do everything. So I decided, I found friends to do it with. I got a coach, and I planned, and I did it. I didn't place top of my group, but I got through it. And when I did that, I actually met the CEO of a company called Lending Tree, and him and I became good buddies. He wound up investing in my company, helping us build out some stuff in our platform, but it was all because I broke free of that rhythm and I was open to kind of new things. So that's your example almost tied in exactly with my life. I didn't mean to.
No, it's brilliant, because that's, for example, how I met Hal Elrod with Miracle Morning, because I had this idea of the 5-minute success, and I just started talking to everybody I knew who'd ever written a book. And the first one was Pat Hyben with Real Estate Rockstars. And he said, oh, you need to meet my friend Hal Elrod. And I mean, I could just go, oh, and then I met Hal Elrod, and then this happened, right? Just like you said. So the idea, even like flipping houses, finding new properties, getting outside, maybe getting into new areas, drive a different direction, go down a different block. You may see something that that you didn't know was there because you tried something new.
Yeah, exactly. All right, good. So we talked about starting small, just 5 minutes, finding your genius, keeping your eyes open, doing something new, and not denying it, not waiting later to do that, and start it now. Now let's talk about some practical aspects on how to put this into practice. And right when we're done with this, we're going to announce the winner of the $3,000 pin software that we're giving away.
Well, I find that people that achieve a high level success, they develop habits. And to develop this habit, I recommend the 66-day challenge. And this also comes out of the One Thing and the Gary Keller and Jay Papasan wrote, but it also came out of a lot of research in the Habit Loop by Charles Duhigg. And that is the reason why 66 days is because what they found is the first 21 days, which is what many people quote about habit formation, is the first 21 days is that evangelism period, right? Where you're excited about it. You're telling everybody. I mean, think about the person who got the whole, decided to do a Whole30 diet program or get a Peloton or whatever. They are telling the world. The next 21, 22 days, people start to go through an evaluation period. They're like, not sure I want to keep doing this. I'm not seeing the benefits of it yet. And so it's just, maybe I really didn't want to do this after all. And if you think about Seth Godin's book, The Dip, where he talks about how to decide when you're in a dip, what to power through. Well, the things that you want to power through on are the things that are like, this is going to have an impact on the long run. For example, hip hop, learning how to dance hip hop, not sure. It's still a lot of fun. I love it, but it's not like probably something worth powering through. But what'll happen in most cases for people is once you get to that last 21, 22 days, you're going to start to experience the benefits of it. And then you're going to want to do more. So what you want to do is you want to get to that place. Now that if it's truly a habit, like say activity blocking or that type of thing, you don't stop at 66 days. I mean, James Clear in Atomic Habits, I asked him, I was like, well, it becomes a habit. It becomes what they call automaticity, where you don't think about it anymore. For most people, it's 66 days. But just like brushing your teeth or business development, prospecting, lead generation, no matter what business you're in, you don't stop it. It's just a launching place.
Yeah, no, the 66 days is a great target. And I remember I saw a quote Jerry Seinfeld had, something about building habits, about the red X every day.
Absolutely. So get yourself a calendar.
After he had 2 or 3 of them together, he just didn't want to break the next red X. So he just kind of kept going and going and going. And really what Karen's been saying, everyone, is really where you want to get to where all of a sudden these these activities that make you money, that make you feel good, are just automatic, and you're just waking up and you're doing them. And it just takes a little bit at a time. So someone who had a good habit of listening to our podcast, commenting on our podcast, subscribing, visiting exactlyhow.com, just won himself a $3,000 software that's going to automatically locate the best off-market deals, the vacants, the pre-foreclosures, the probates, gosh, everything out there. This gentleman's name is.
Looking for a private money partner to fund your flips or rentals? Go direct to the source. PrivateLenders.com, a free marketplace that instantly matches you with up to 5 private money lenders to save thousands by having non-bank lenders compete to be your funding partner. PrivateLenders.com.
This gentleman's name is Ryan Hussey. Ryan, congratulations. We'll be in touch with you. We'll get you all set up, and someone right here at Connected Investors will walk you through the entire process of using this to find your next dream home or that perfect investment property. So thanks so much for subscribing. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure to go ahead and subscribe and become some of the millions of people that are benefiting from the education and resources that Connected Investors provides. You don't want to miss any of these. Just a few of the hacks that Karen shared with you on this show could ripple through your life, through your business, through your kids' life, through, the legacy that you're building. So I'm so excited for everyone that's spending the time with us here. And also, your engagement really fuels us. So comment, let us know what you like. Give us a thumbs up. If you don't, then we don't know if we're doing a good job. So that's all we ask from you. Well, Karen, before we move on here, anything else you want people to know about some of these life hacks and these time hacks?
Well, I would say that a lot of people, will say that, it's too late for them, or it's good for you, or it's good for someone else, but it's not necessarily good for them. And so if I could do it, I started at about 57. So if I could start at 57, you could start today too. And if I can do it, you can do it too.
That's awesome. No, that's perfect. And there's so many people here that are on the fence, right? They got this idea about real estate investing. There's so many ways to make money. Maybe they're confused. They feel a little overwhelmed because, gosh, I could wholesale, I could fix and flip. Maybe I'll get my realtor license. Maybe I'll rent houses on Airbnb. What would you say to someone who is kind of on the fence about real estate and, they've been thinking about it for a long time, but they haven't made their first dollar yet?
Well, I would say start with mentors, people that have gone before. So there's other people that have done this, like, for example, yourself. I mean, that's a great place to start. I mean, even when I went to go write my first book, I started with the people who had written books before and asked them, their hacks, if you will. And then the other thing is oftentimes people, they're thinking somewhere else, but usually being closer to home and what is where you're going to be able to have the most impact, because you're already going to know that market and you're going to have contacts, you're going to have relationships. So I recommend starting closer to home. Now, the more sophisticated investor and the professional investor, then they could branch out from there. But most people benefit from starting small and building up.
And you know what? The more sophisticated investor, all they do is they just have better contacts in different areas. So as you start to build your network,
yes,
you have people in different areas that maybe you grew up in, or friends that are out there. What you learn in real estate in one market translates very, very well, 99%, to another market with just some minor adjustments. So, just like with time hacking, start small, start in your local area and kind of start building out. And you can use real estate. What I love about real estate, Karen, is a lot of people, myself included, use it as a catalyst, right? It's maybe I don't want to be, a real estate investor, but I love technology. So I made a fortune in real estate, and I used that money to invest in a technology company, to where now I get to, execute on my genius and help other people have the same transformation and impact lives across the nation. So real estate is a phenomenal stepping stone. And because it's so multifaceted, there's so many different aspects of it. You can find something you love in it. Real estate is life. It's everything. When you say,
well, we all have we need a place to live, right? So it is a fundamental human need. But the other thing is it's the one real estate. If you think about it, it's the only thing that's truly real.
That's a good point. Now, let me ask you the most important question here. What do you think your life would be like if you never found real estate?
Oh my gosh. There's this proverb, when was the best time to plant a tree? It was 20 years ago. When's the next best time? It's now. I feel the same way about real estate. I feel like I actually kind of came back into it late in the game in life, because I did start out commercial real estate right out of college. And then I stepped away from it. Of course, the market was challenging in the 80s with the savings and loan crisis. And then we had the tech crisis, or tech bust. And then we had but the thing that I've discovered, when you look at it over time, it really is one of the best asset classes, if not the best asset class.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I agree 100% there. And I'm really excited for the people that are on the line here. Now, listen, if you're watching this on YouTube, open up the description of the YouTube video. We have some free goodies in there and some things you're definitely going to want to download, including calculators and checklists and all of the stuff that you need to maybe even find your market, find the hottest areas in your market. There's a lot of great stuff in the description. And also, I'm giving away my book right here. I'm an author as well, The Insider's Guide to Funding Real Estate Investments. This way you can go ahead and this is every checklist, everything you need right here. It's in the description of the YouTube video. Go ahead and grab it. It is 100% free. So Karen, are you ready for the rapid fire section of this podcast?
Let's do it.
All right. These are so much fun. I didn't realize this, but I've essentially been surveying dozens and dozens, soon to be hundreds of millionaires on these questions. And it's really cool to start pulling the data back and seeing what everyone's saying about this. All right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how strict were your parents?
Probably about a 7.
Get up early or stay up late?
Oh, I'm an early miracle morning.
How many hours of sleep do you get?
7.5.
Favorite or most recent book that you read?
I really attribute a lot of my success to the Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod, and so it's a game changer.
If you could be any superhero, who would it be?
Superhero. Well, I really would want to be, I think, Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz. I don't know if she's a superhero, but just because she went on this amazing heroine's journey and came back home and realized she had it inside herself all along.
That's awesome. What is something everyone should do less of?
Less worrying about things.
What is something everyone should do more of?
Flipping time.
Bitcoin, bang or bust?
I think it's a bust.
And will people visit Mars in your lifetime?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I think they already have. I think they're there right now. Building pyramids. No, thank you so much for jumping on the line here. I got a lot of value out of this show. And for everyone who is still with us, congratulations. You made it to the end of the show, which means you actually finished what you started. Very beautiful. That's a great success habit right there, isn't it, Karen?
Sure is.
You have an activity block right here. You're like, I'm going to spend some time learning how to make better use of my time. So you can get I don't know if it's a ROI, ROT, return on time of this episode. If you just figure out just one or two of the strategies we talked about to implement here, you could really have a nice ripple effect throughout your life. So make sure to comment, subscribe, share this, give us a little thumbs up if you liked it. Again, your comments really fuel what we have here. So Karen, thanks again for jumping on. Oh, my pleasure. And here's to your success too, Ross. Cheers. All right. Until the next time, visit exactlyhow.com to take a look at the past library of shows we have. We have dozens and dozens of experts who have come on and have taught you how to do everything from managing your time to managing your real estate, to finding deals, to wholesaling, to rehabbing, to asset protection, to skyscrapers. Though the world's the limit at exactlyhow.com. I'll talk to you in the next podcast and YouTube show. Bye-bye.
The Connected Investors app connects you with investors, notifies you of available properties, helps locate cash buyers, and secure private funding to close deals. Set up in seconds to become a member of the Connected Investors social network. Now you can scroll through your main feed to find cash buyers, see investment properties not available to the general public, and network with investors by adding your own comments to a thread to keep the conversation going. The Control Center is your connection to add properties to sell, start new discussions, connect with local investors, and even find private funding. The Notifications tab will keep you alerted to new investment properties and offers. You'll also find new friend requests to connect directly with the community to build your network. From the property marketplace, you'll be able to find, favorite, and make offers on investment properties. Download Connected Investors today to find, figure, fund, and flip investment properties on the go.